Hi ladies, happy Friday. So I had to postpone this a little bit, and actually you can hear it maybe in my voice. I'm a little bit sick, so I hope I can keep going because I've actually put this on Friday because I thought I would be better by now, but it seems actually that today is the worst day, so I can't stop coughing, and there you go. So I will try to do this, but talking usually is not so great. Um, so I'm sorry. Okay. So I wanted to talk about the blood sugar connection to weight gain and perimenopause. And the thing is, when we get older, our cells, they don't become healthier. They don't, basically the connection and everything doesn't get better. So they actually also become less sensitive to insulin. And this is even further supported, or maybe supported is a too positive word in that sense, but when our estrogen goes low, this gets even worse. So basically, we have those two things. We have our natural cellular aging process, and then we have loss of estrogen, which both don't work in our favor. Meaning that we actually really can't cut corners anymore with our diet. So you may actually have been able to drink the alcohol and eat that pizza and do all these things, and then maybe I actually know a lot of women who used to basically go a little bit overboard, and then when they wanted to lose weight, they basically went to a week of paying really attention or exercising more, and the weight would come off. But you may have noticed that in perimenopause that doesn't really, or usually not, work anymore. And that's actually because of the blood sugar. So I've already talked a little bit about, I've mentioned this before, that we have higher levels of stress hormone. So that's also one thing. I'm sorry. That's also one thing that can trigger or basically that can increase our blood sugar levels when we have high stress levels. Oh gosh, I didn't think it would be so bad. Okay, I'll try to keep going, but if it doesn't work, then I will just do this another time next week when I'm hopefully better. I hope you understand. So yeah, basically the cortisol also doesn't help. So we basically have all these things. Stress management is important, but also the diet is important. And last week I talked a lot about the protein. So basically protein is not only important for maintaining our metabolism or keeping our muscle mass, but it's also very important for our satiety. And if you actually will look at the calories, you will see that when you eat protein, you actually get much more bang for your buck, let's say, because it will make you feel fuller quicker. It has much less calories than compared to high carb foods that you would need to eat. And so basically you get much more bang for your buck. So you feel you're basically eating the protein that makes you feel full, and it doesn't trigger your blood sugar, and also you're eating less calories than if you would eat just carbohydrates. So it's really about combining the foods, right? And so my motto is FFP. So people who have followed me for a while, they have heard me say over and over, FFP, fat, fiber, protein. Every meal needs to have fat, fiber, protein. So that's really the ideal combination. So you want that healthy fat, and you want the amount of protein, and you want a lot of fiber. And all these three things will make for a satisfying meal that will keep you going for a while without, feeling hungry a couple of hours later. Because blood sugar is not only what will impact our weight. We will gain weight, especially visceral fat, when we get this, but it also impacts our mood, and it can even increase anxiety. I had lots of clients who felt shaky when the blood sugar goes low, and who had high anxiety linked to that. And once we actually work on balancing the blood sugar, these symptoms have also gotten much better, or even gone away completely. So it's really about the diet and the stress management. And then it can also never hurt, and sometimes be an additional thing that you could do is working on keeping your cellular health, your cells healthy, and cellular renewal. So there's specific supplements, but also things that you could do, like, it's basically stimulating your, exercise is one thing. Cold showers, cold plunges. So it's like a little bit about stressing your system, so that you trigger cellular renewal. So that's a little bit how that works. So basically, blood sugar is one of the most important thing that you can tend to. It's very much linked to stress levels as well. And on the contrary, if if your blood sugar is imbalanced because of the way you're eating or what you're drinking, that can also trigger a stress response. So many women who don't sleep well at night basically have this because they are not eating right during the day. They are starting off with the wrong breakfast already, and then basically they have a fluctuating blood sugar throughout the day. And in the evening, or basically at night, when cortisol is supposed to be low and they want to sleep, then actually the blood sugar goes low, and that triggers a cortisol response, and that makes this kind of insomnia, wide awake effect, and you can't go back to sleep. So I actually do have a cookbook for anyone who is interested into looking at that. So that's it's not for free, but it is a low it's a low investment. So it's 17 euros, and all of my recipes, but also if you go on my blog, all of my recipes will be low carb and blood sugar friendly. So I'm also somebody who is genetically actually prone to having higher blood sugar. So some people are also more sensitive than others. I know that I need to be much more careful with carbs than some of my friends who actually do fine with, eating much more. But if I would do that, I would feel different, and I would probably also put on weight. So that's the second aspect. Basically we talked about the exercise, keeping up your metabolism, and keeping up your muscle mass. Now the second aspect is your diet. So making sure you're having fat, fiber, protein with every meal, eating lots of protein. And if you're in doubt, just always start with protein first and eat enough protein, because I haven't met any woman who was actually eating enough, and it's actually hard to get enough protein. So definitely don't be afraid to eat too much of it. And as I said, if in doubt, always start with a protein, so you make sure you can eat as much of that as possible. And then stress management may be something that you may need to look into as well. That could actually have an impact on your blood sugar. And also what can happen, what I've actually seen in myself as well, when you have underlying infections or gut issues or things like that, that can also trigger your blood sugar. So that can stress out your body, and it can affect your liver, and therefore it can also have a negative impact on your blood sugar. So that may be something, you know, if you're already doing the right thing diet-wise, and you already have, you know, looked into stress management, but you feel blood sugar may still be a problem, then, you know, that may be something to look into. And so there's blood sugar markers that you can always test with your doctor. And it's not, the fasting glucose is really not an interesting marker. But what you should ask for is HbA1c, which is the average of the past 3 months of your glucose, blood glucose levels, and insulin as well, fasting insulin. So those are 2 markers that are very interesting to look at when you want to know what's going on with your blood sugar. Yeah, and I think that's everything. So yay, I've made it. So I hope you found this useful. And as always, if you have any questions, then just put them here in the post that or in the video that I'm posting now in the group, or, you know, start a new thread or anything. But happy to look into it. And for anyone who's interested, yes, I did mention my cookbook, so I will just add a link to that as well for anyone who wants to look into it. It also comes with a protein cheat sheet. It comes with a 2-week meal plan. It comes with a shopping list. So, I mean, there's basically a lot of resources in that cookbook as well that can help you get started with, you know, changing up your diet and, you know, following that meal plan before, you know, like trying out all the recipes. So yeah, I am wishing you a wonderful weekend. I hope you haven't caught a cold like me and are able to enjoy your weekend. And then I will see you again next week on Wednesday, where we will talk more about weight loss.